Greetings, Iain from RTO here. Welcome to Friday on the channel. Before we start, just want to say thank you very much for my guests last night on a cracking live stream, probably the best we've done. We had Martin from Vinyl Scavenger on, we had Rob Walker as usual, Vinyl Dale, Simon, Dave was here, and Richard McCook. We had a really good conversations. Lots of you were contributing in the Rankers Gallery, and yeah, great show all round. So thank you for everyone that came in. If you haven't watched it yet, it's still up there, so go and have a look. And if you like, why don't you come and join us? Anyway, back to business. Now today is live album ranking, and it's the first part of a new story. We're going to be looking at the next few weeks. It was a request. Lee, my mate, said he said, why don't you do the solo stuff of the Rolling Stones? So we've done Mick and we've done Ronnie. So this is Bill, but Bill's has done the most work. Obviously he left the Rolling Stones in 1990. So he's done other stuff as well, and his solo stuff. So we're going to have a look at his stuff. So we've already done the Rolling Stones studio albums. I thought for Bill Wyman we'll do the live stuff, and I've included all the live albums. There's 12 official ones. There are some other ones which we will do at a later date, because there are some great other unofficial sort of Rolling Stone live albums. So I'm not going to go into great details of the history of this band, because we all know about the Stones. Great band, second greatest artist behind the Beatles apparently. Bill Wyman was a member of the band from 1962 until officially 1993, and he guested in 2012. I think 1990 was his last tour. So we'll have a look at these 12 live albums. So coming in at number 12 we have Stripped, which was released in 1995. That's one of those sort of, at the time everybody were doing these acoustic albums, which I'm never a great fan of. So on here is Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Ronnie Wood and Charlie Watts. Additional, we've got Darryl Jones on bass, who sort of replaced Bill, Chuck Leavell on the keyboards, Lisa Fisher, Bernard Fowler backing vocals, Bobby Keys saxophone, Michael Davis trumpet, Keith Smith trumpet, and Andy Snyder saxophone, and we got Don Was on the Hammond organ. So the tracks they're from all over the place. They're put together. Street Fighting Man was done in Holland. That's alright. Like a Rolling Stone, Bob Dylan song. That was done in Brixton. We got Not Fade Away, Shine a Light, The Spider and the Fly, I'm Free, Wild Horses, Let It Bleed. That one's okay as an acoustic. Dead Flowers, Slipping Away sounds good as an acoustic. Angie's good as an acoustic. Love in Vain, which is a Robert Johnson song. Now that was recorded in a studio, that's pretty good. Sweet Virginia, another studio track, it's not too bad. And Little Baby, it's okay. I'm not a great lover of acoustic albums, because I don't think a lot of tracks some of them just do not sound good acoustic. The stuff they did in the studio, the Robert Johnson song's pretty good. It's probably my favourite track actually on the album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 11. Now this is an album that was recorded in 1970 but didn't get released till 1996, and it's the Rolling Stones Rock and Roll Circus. It's a funny album, this is. It features all sorts of people, and they all look 3 sheets to the wind. I've seen clips of it. None of them look like they know where they are. So on here you've got the Rolling Stones is Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Mick Taylor, Bill Wyman, and Charlie Watts. And then you get the band introducing their guests. So Mick Jagger comes on to Entry the Gladiators, and then he introduces Jethro Tull, and they do a song for Jeffrey, which is good. Keith Richards comes in and introduces the who do a quick one while he's away. And Over the Waves come next, and then it Ain't No Love That Ain't That a Lot of Love, which Taj Mahal does. Charlie Watts comes on and introduces Marianne Faithfull, and you get Something Better. Mick Jagger introduces John Lennon, and you get your blues and a whole lot of Yoko. John Lennon then introduces Rolling Stones, so you get Jumping Jack Flash, Parachute Money, Woman, No Expectations, You Can't Always Get What You Want, Sympathy for the Devil, Salt of the Earth. Okay, this is a really weird album. As I said, they're all 3 sheets to the wind. You know, it's amazing they actually got up on stage and played. To be quite honest, it's all right, but I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, number 10. This came out in December of 2017. It's one of them BBC albums, and as much as I call the BBC, when it comes to these albums, they are terrific. This is called On Air, and this is the standard version of the album, and is live stuff and recordings that the band aired on the BBC between 1963 and 65. So you've got Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Brian Jones, Bill Wyman and Charlie Watts. Ian Stewart performs on here as well. First they do a Chuck Berry song, Come On, great little track. I Can't Get No Satisfaction, Roll Over Beethoven, Chuck Berry, Spider and the Fly, Cops and Robbers, It's All Over Now, pretty good. Route 66, Memphis, Tennessee, Chuck Berry. Down the Road a Piece, Don Rail song. The Last Time, Cry to Me, Mercy Mercy, Oh Baby, We've Got a Good Thing Going, Barbara Lynn. Around and Round, the Chuck Berry again, lots of Chuck on here. High Heel Sneakers, Tommy Tucker, Fannie Mae, they do on here, You Better Move On, and Mona, Bo Diddley. Great, this is great, it's just great sessions. I really enjoy listening to this, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of a 7 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 9, we got it was released in 1966, this one, and it's called Go Live If You Want To. It was done at the live performance recorded at the City Hall in Newcastle and Colston Hall in Bristol. So it's Mick, Keith, Brian, Bill and Charlie and Ian Stewart on the organ and Jack Nish on piano. Get Under My Thumb, Get Off of My Cloud, Lady Jane, Not Fade Away, I've Been Loving You Too Long, Fortune Teller, The Last Time, the 19th Nervous Breakdown, which is a pretty good version on here. This Time in My Sight, I'm Alright, Have You Seen My Mother Baby, Standing in the Shadow, great version of that if you can hear it over the screams. I Can't Get No Satisfaction. Considering this was recorded in 1966, it's pretty good quality, and honestly I think these early recordings are better than the Beatles at the time. There's a few screaming kids on here, which as I said yesterday was a trait of 60s recordings, but I think you can because the Stones is just a loud band, you can hear it. And I love this album because it's got Brian Jones on it. It's a bit of nostalgia, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7.5. Okay, number 8. Now this is, by this time Bill has left, so it is Live Licks. And it captures performances on the Licks tour in respect of spanning 40 licks. Special guests on here are Sheryl Crow, that plays on Honky Tonk Woman. Solomon Burke sings his Everybody Needs Somebody. So on here is Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Charlie Watts, Ronnie Wood, Darryl Jones on the bass, Chuck Novell as ever on the keyboards, and we got Bernard Flower, Lisa Fisher and Blondie Chaplin doing the backing vocals, Bobby Keys and Angie Schnitzner on saxophones, Michael Davis on trombone, and Ken Smith on trumpet. So this one opens up with Brown Sugar, great track, Street Fighting Man, Paint It Black, love that track, great Always Live, You Can Always Get What You Want, Start Me Up, which is a great track live, It's Only Rock and Roll, brilliant, Angie, Honky Tonk Woman, Happy, Gimme Shelter, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, Neighbours, Monkey Man, Rocks Off, which is cool live, Can't Hear Me Knocking, How Strong Is My Love, The Nearest to You, The Beast of Burden, When the Whip Comes Down, Rock Me Baby, a BB King number, You Don't Have to Mean It, Worried, and then Solomon Burke doing Everybody Needs Somebody to Love With Them. It's a great album. It's got some really different tracks, stuff that you don't normally get. Solomon Burke on it's brilliant, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I love the Rolling Stones live albums, and this has been tough, but this one I'm going to give an RTO ranking of 7.6. Okay then, coming in at number 7 from 1998, No Security, recorded on the Bridges of Babylon tour, and we've got Keith Richards, Ronnie Wood, Charlie Watts, and Darryl and Chuck. Dave Matthews does some vocals on one track, guest vocals as well on Karina, Taj Mahal, and Josh Redmond saxophone. So we get an intro, You Got Me Rocking, Gimme Shelter, Flick the Switch, great live, Memory Hotel, Karina, which the Taj Mahal song, and he sings it pretty good, Saint of Me, Waiting for a Friend, which is lovely on here, Sister Morphine, Live With Me, Respectable, I Just Want to Make Love to You. Mick really gives it some welly in that. It's a great track. Thief in the Night, Last Time, and Out of Control. I really like this album. It's got a pretty good selection of songs on, and it doesn't feel like it's been recorded in various places. The continuity is really good on this, so I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Coming in at number 6 then, released in 1982, this is Still Life, and it was recorded on the American tour in 1981 and was released just before their European tour of 1982. So we have Mick, Keith, Ronnie, Bill, Charlie. Joining them on stage is Ian McLagan on keyboards, Ian Stewart on piano, and Ernie Watts on the saxophone. You get the intro to Take a Train, which goes straight into Under My Thumb, which is pretty cool. Let's Spend the Night Together, Shattered, I love that. Then we do a bit of Eddie Cochran, we get the 20 Flight Rock. Then we get Going to a Go-Go, Let Me Go, This Is the Time on My Side, which is written by Norman Mead, Just Imagine My Imagination, Start Me Up, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, and Keith I don't know if it's Keith or Ronnie plays the Star Spangled Banner in the traditional sort of Jimi Hendrix type thing. Yeah, shame this is only a single album, because it's a great album. A couple of good covers on here. That's the only thing, you know, less covers, more original, but it's still, the production on it's fantastic. It's a good little album to listen to, so I shall give this one an RTO ranking of 8.3. Okay, coming in at number 6, got an album that was released in 1977, and it's Love You Live. It's a double album, recorded in shows in America in 75, and the tours of Europe, and a few at El Mocambo, which we'll come on to later, which is in Toronto. So it's Mick, Keith, Ronnie, Bill, and Charlie, of course. Billy Preston's on the piano, Ollie Brown percussion, Ian Stewart on the piano. Starts off with a little bit of Aaron Copland's Fanfare for the Common Man. which goes straight into Honky Tonk Woman. Brilliant. If You Can Rock Me and Get Off of My Cloud, which is absolutely brilliant. Happy, Hot Stuff, brilliant live. Star, love that track. Tumbling Dice, brilliant. Fingerprint File, You Gotta Move. You Can't Always Get What You Want, and love that song, always have. Manish Boy, which is of course written by Bo Diddley. Cracking Up, another Bo Diddley. Little Red Rooster, I love that. Around, Chuck Berry, It's Only Rock and Roll, Brown Sugar, Jumping Jack Flash, and we end up with Symphony for the Devil. Another great live album. Classic Stones live. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, coming in at number 4. This was a live album and a concert that was filmed by Martin Scorsese. It was released in 2008, and it's Shine a Light. It was recorded in the New York at the Beacon Theatre. So it's Mick, Keith, Ron, Charlie, Darryl Jones, Christine Aragella guests on it. Buddy Guy does as well. Jack White from the White Stripes, whatever they're called. Chuck Leavell, Lisa Fisher, Bernard Flower, Kent Smith's back on the trumpet, Tim Rise. Opens up with Jumping Jack Flash, great. Shattered, She Was Hot, all down the line. He's absolutely brilliant on here. Loving Cup that he does with Jack White, brilliant. As Tears Go By, wonderful. Some Girls, not met. Great to hear that one out again. Just My Imagination, Faraway Eyes, Champagne and Reefer with Buddy Guy, absolutely brilliant. Tumbling Dice, get band intros. You've Got the Silver Connection. Then you get some Martin Scorsese, Sympathy for the Devil, Live With Me with Christine Aguilera, pretty good. Start Me Up, Brown Sugar, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, Painted Black, A Little TNA, which is fun, I'm Free and Shine a Love. This is a cracking album. Now, I was lucky enough to see this in a 360 cinema in Chicago, which is at the end of Navy Pier in Chicago. Seeing Keith Richards that close up is scary. It was you felt like that you was at the gig itself. Seeing this in 360 really was brilliant, and I have fond memories of watching this. The sound was great, and I just love this album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 8.6. Okay, coming in at number 3. Got an album that was released in September 1917. It had a reissue in 2009, and it was recorded in 1969 in New York City and Baltimore. And it was their first live album to reach number 1 in the UK. And it's Get Your Ya-Ya's Out. So on here it's Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Mick Taylor, Bill Wyman and Charlie Watts, with the ever-present Ian Stewart on the keyboards. Opens up with Jumping Jack Flash. Then it goes into Carol, Stray Cat Blues, Love Invade, Midnight Rambler, Symphony for the Devil, Live With Me, Little Queenie, Honky Tonk Woman, just great stuff. Street Fighting Man. And then on disc 2, when they under the unreleased tracks, we got Prodigal Son, You've Gotta Move, Under My Thumb, I'm Free, I Can't Get No Satisfaction, and then they did the re-release, and we got Every Day I Have the Blues, How Blue Can It Get, That's the Wrong Little Mama, I Sing the Blues, Please Accept My Love, Gimme Some Lovin', Sweet Soul Music, Son of a Preacher Man, which is brilliant on here, Proud Mary, I've Been Loving You Too Long, Come Together, A Land of a Thousand Dances, which is the tracks done by B.B. King and Tina Turner and Ike. They sort of put the support acts on that third disc. What a package! You get the whole show, which I love. You get the support acts and you get the Stones. Brilliant album, nice package. So I'll give this one an RTO ranking of 8.8. Okay, coming in at number 2. Now this is came out last year, and it's the whole of the gig for Mocambo in Toronto. It was recorded in 1977, and that was the first album they'd released since Charlie Watts had passed away. So the band on this one is Mick, Keith, Ronnie, Bill and Charlie. Opens up with Honky Tonk Woman, All Down the Line, Hand of Fate, Route 66, Fool to Cry, Crazy Mama, Manish Boy. Love that song by Bo Diddley, but the Stones always do a great version of it. Cracking Up, Dance Little Sister, Around Around Chuck Berry, Tumbling Dice, fantastic on here. Hot Stuff, Star Star, Let's Spend the Night Together, Worried Life Blues, I must say so, Merryweather, track Little Red Rooster, probably the best version of Little Red Rooster. It's Only Rock and Roll, Rip This Joint, Brown Sugar, Jumpin' Jack Flash, and then this little rock and roll medley, Luxury and Worried About You. What a good little album this is. Plenty of good tracks on here. I really enjoyed this one. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. So my number 1, and it's number 1 for one reason. It's the tour I saw them on. It's the only ever time I saw Rolling Stones, and I'm so lucky that I saw the band with Bill Wyman, because this was his last tour. It's Flashpoint. I saw them at Wembley on the 4th of July 1990 on the Steel Wheels tour, and this is just recorded across America, Europe. So the band was Mick, Keith, Ronnie, Bill, Charlie, and Matt Clifford on keyboards, Chuck Leavell on keyboards, Bobby Keys on saxophones, and the horns were done by the Uptown Horns. Starts off with the introduction of the track off Steel Wheels, Continental Drift, which goes straight into Start Me Up. Absolutely brilliant track. I love that. Great way to start the gig. Then we have Sad Sad Sad, one of my favourite tracks off the Steel Wheels. Miss You, brilliant. Rock in a Hard Place, another Steel Wheels. Ruby Tuesday, wonderful hit to hear that. You Can Always Get What You Want, a brilliant version of Factory Girl that was actually done on the 6th of July at Wembley, 2 days after I saw them. Can't Be Seen, Little Red Rooster, brilliant. Paint It Black, brilliant. Sympathy for the Devil, I remember that track, Mick going at the gantries, brilliant. Brown Sugar, Jumpin' Jack Flash, I Can't Get Satisfaction. And then we get 2 studio tracks, Highwire and Sex Drive, which are alright. I love this album because it brings back so many good memories. I think there's another unofficial one, the Steel Wheels tour, which is good as well. I love playing this because I just remember this day so vividly. It was the semi-final of the World Cup when England got beaten by West Germany, and Mick kept going off stage to answer the score. It was just great. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 9.5. So there we go. First part of Bill Wyman looking at the Rolling Stones live albums. They are great albums. Great live band. Such a shame I only saw them once. But I saw them when I thought, seeing them with Bill was fantastic. So next week, part 2, we're going to look at Bill Wyman's solo albums. But that's not all for today. We've got a new album review, and it's one that a lot of you have been waiting for. It's the review of the new Jethro Tull album Rock Float, or Rock Flute, or whatever it is, because there's lots of little bits on the thing, exclamation marks and all sorts, which is a Nordic god or something. Anyway, I'll be doing that very shortly, so bye for now.